my thoughts toward how I viewed it, right? This, I have to suffer in order to get success. And then when I'm just sick of suffering, I just get to indulge and do whatever I want, right? And none of that was helpful. So from there, we moved into my late 20s, and so I revolted. I just ate, then I binged, and then I would be restricted for a few months, then I would binge again, then I would be restricted for a few months. And so I spent the majority of my late 20s in the 180s, right? So 20 pounds up, and it was actually pretty okay. I actually got into plus-size modeling. I walked some runways, right? I did some things, and it was a cool time. And on the outside, I looked confident, like I was a model, a legitimate model, which was really fun. And I looked content. I chose to look this way. Like this is just how this is how it would be if I let it be this way. But on the inside, I was disappointed. I was lost. I was sad because once you see a number on the scale one time, nothing feels the same until you're back to that number, right? Like you can never rest until you get back to where you were. And even, once again, looking like this, I would kill to be in the 180s again, right? But it's just, it's about your thoughts, about how you are where you are. And so I was lost and sad because I just wanted the answer. I wanted to know, how are people supposed to eat? It can't be this suffering. It can't be the only way to look good is to hate what I'm eating and to feel this constant nag of hunger. That can't be the answer. And because of that, I started to get mad. I started to self-sabotage. I started to say, well, if that's what it takes, I'm not doing it, right? Like, if that's what it takes to be skinny, I'm just not going to do it. And anytime I would find myself getting on track, following a food plan, making progress, I would just know in the back of my head, well, I'm going to screw this up anyway. This isn't sustainable anyway, so let me just blow it all up. Let me just sabotage myself intentionally before I just, do something that I didn't intend to do. Let me just do it myself. And so that's what kept happening. And to top it all off, in 2015, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And so I remember specifically, I was back into exercising, and I never had a problem with exercising my entire life. I loved fitness. I loved exercising. And it honestly wasn't until I found keto that I realized, like, oh my gosh, I've just been doing the food part all wrong, But I never had a problem with exercising. And in 2015, I was really big into boot camp, and I had this little tiny pain in my abdomen. And I literally thought it was from doing too many sit-ups at the gym. And I said, oh man, I must have really worked my abs. Because this point right here, this hurts, And it hurt for about 5 days. And at that point, my mom was like, no, I don't like this. Go to the doctor. I was like, no, Mom, it's just a sore muscle. She was like, no, I don't like it. Let's go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor. They did a CT scan. Because Crohn's disease runs in my family, so they were looking for it. My doctor called me while I was still at the testing facility. She said, you have to go to the hospital right now. And I said, what? She said, you need to go to the hospital right now. And I said, no, I feel okay. I just have this little pinpoint. It's okay. She said, no, your bowels are about this far from a perforation, and that if I didn't get to the hospital right now, I wouldn't last another week, right? So from there, I spent the next 5 days. I went directly to the hospital. I called my mom. I was crying. I was like, she says I have to go to the hospital. And I was like, am I going to be in there for like a day, like an overnight bag? She was like, no, you're going to be in the hospital for a week. You need medicine. You need anti-inflammatories. You need stuff. And so I had to pack a bag. Like I was going to a sleepover. I remember I went to the hospital with a pillow. I'm just like, I've never been here before. I don't know what to do, And so I spent the next 5 days just getting medicine, right? And at the end of it all, they let me out of the hospital and they were like, congratulations, you have a gastroenterologist now. You have Crohn's disease. And I was like, cool, what does that mean? What am I supposed to do with that? And I was asymptomatic. Besides that one pinpoint, I had never felt anything. And after they gave me those drugs to, calm down everything, I didn't feel anything. I was completely asymptomatic. And so the only thing my doctor told me was to adopt a low-fiber diet, which I was just like, once again, went against everything that I believed in diet culture, weight loss culture. It was like, you need fiber in your diet. Eat the brown rice. Eat the wheat bread. It has whole grains. And so my doctor was telling me to have a low-fiber diet. And that was honestly the first time where I was like, these things are conflicting. You know, like I don't really understand what I'm supposed to be doing. And she didn't say anything besides that. Just low fiber diet. They sent me on my way. And so I didn't have to change the way that I ate, and I did it. And it continued to get worse and worse. And at this point, I just kind of let myself go. I'm just like, what's the point? I'm supposed to be an overweight person. Food just tastes too good. It's just too difficult. I can never do it for long enough to see and stay any results. And so in January 2017, that's when I got to my highest weight ever of 232.5 pounds. Because I was just like, I don't care. What's the point? What is the point? It doesn't matter. And I was just over it. And that's also on the outside, like drastic, noticeable weight gain. Like I had never weighed this much in my entire life. And on the inside, I was still desperate, and I was lost, and I was sad. But at this point, I was also scared because I didn't intend to get that way. This was the first time where I thought, am I ever going to actually be able to control this? Like, I don't even want to eat the way that I'm eating, but I can't help myself, right? The food just tastes too good, right? We know now it's just drugs and it's supposed to, right? But I didn't know at the time that, like, am I going to be able to stop this? So that's when I Googled a sentence that changed my life. Because at this point, we talked about this earlier in the week, I noticed that toward the middle of 2017, I started to feel bad after every time that I ate. And so with my diagnosis of Crohn's in 2015, I had gone 2 years symptom-free. Nothing bothered me. But in 2017, I started to feel it. Every time that I ate, it felt like someone was twisting knots in my stomach. And it was just hurting to eat. And once again, I was so sad because eating is like my favorite thing. How are you going to turn my favorite thing into the thing that causes me the most pain? I couldn't do it. I didn't like it. And so I realized that was the first time in life that food could control how you felt. I always knew food controlled how much you weighed. If you eat more, you're going to gain weight. If you eat less, you're going to lose weight. Let's not even talk about how wrong that is fundamentally, right? It's not that simple. But I knew that it could control my weight, but never that it can actually control how I felt. So in July 2017, I Googled food to help you feel better. That's all I wanted. Food to help you feel better. And the first video that came up was Dr. Kim Berry. I know. Give it for Dr. Kim Berry. He changed my life. Legitimately, right? And so starting to watch his videos about the anti-inflammatory natures of the ketogenic diet and learning about, your blood sugar and insulin and inflammation. And I was just so engulfed in learning because that was the first time where I really understood what food does to your body. How can you make it this far in life and not know and be focused on weight loss for so long, but still not have an understanding of what food does to your body? And not only that, these people were getting amazing health benefits and they were losing a ton of weight. And I said, wait a minute, you're saying I can actually feel good again and I can lose weight, which is only what I've ever been trying to do my entire life. It was absolutely crazy. And so I decided to start the keto diet. I fell down a wormhole. I started watching every video I could find. And in September 2017, I started keto. And this was, in September, I was at 215, so I had lost a good 20 pounds following the standard American dieting diet. But when I started keto, it changed my life. It was so satisfying, and the food was just so good, and I felt so calm and at ease, and I was losing weight, and I felt better. And so I wanted to share that with people. I wanted to share with people that I had found the answer. Finally, how are people supposed to eat? Well, people are supposed to eat the proper human diet. The proper human diet is a low carbohydrate, high animal fat and protein diet. And I had found that, and I wanted to share it with people. So I started my YouTube channel, Watch Autumn Keto. And so I would just make videos about meal preps and about full days of eating, helping people on their journey, weigh-ins and things like that. And so I was sharing it on YouTube, sharing it on Instagram, and then in 2020, I decided to have my own keto meetup in Louisville called Keto Palooza. And of course, that was the pandemic, and I was going to cancel it. And I was like, you guys, we can't meet up. And they were like, no, we have to go. We have to meet. So we had just a small, socially distanced, masked up, meeting in Louisville, Kentucky. And this year we're having the 3rd annual Keto Palooza, right? And a lot of people, forget about Keto Chow. There they are, yeah. And so a lot of people in this room are going to be there. A lot of people that couldn't make it are going to be there. And once again, if you want to come to Keto Palooza, I'd love to see you. Louisville, Kentucky, you can ask me about that. But it was really just sharing the journey and the joy that I had found on this way of life. So, needless to say, I was disciplined. I was consistent. I was nailing the Superwoman pose, right? I felt so good. And on the outside, I was thin again. Finally, I had gotten back to where I wanted to be, and I was committed. And it was easy to be committed because the food tasted good, and I was getting great results. And on the inside, I was finally happy, and I was finally hopeful, and more importantly, I was finally satisfied. I was finally like, oh, this is the way I can legitimately see myself eating because I was not left wanting more. And so I was finding great success on keto, and I wanted to step it up a notch. I wanted to do even more. I was doing well just as I was, but I was like, you know what? I can go harder. I can do more. I can make it more intense and more insane, and I can get back to where I was. And what I didn't realize is I was slipping back into my dangerous habits and mindset around that insanity time. So in July 2018, I started a program called Deeper State Keto. And if you're not familiar, Deeper State Keto is it's a weight loss, a fat loss cutting program that was created by Robert Sykes, the Keto Savage, and Matt and Mega from Keto Connect. I was really big into YouTube back then, and so they were some of my favorite YouTubers, and I wanted to follow their program. And when I started their program, I was already 169 pounds and in great shape. That was before, right? And afterwards, I had gotten to the best shape of my life, or what I thought. Let's say this, the lowest weight of my life, which was 155 pounds. I weighed 155 pounds, and I put the star next to it because that was my real goal weight. My goal weight was to weigh under 160 pounds. And do you know why that was? Because that was how much my sister weighed. Even then, my entire life, one of my goals was, I just want to weigh less than my twin sister, right? And so I was like, I know, right? So 155, I was like, you know what? I did it. I am here. I have arrived. But let's talk about this. On the outside, I looked great. I looked disciplined. I looked successful. I was really thin. But the inside was a completely different story. And I want to disclaim, this is not, once again, just like it wasn't Insanity's fault, this was not Deeper State Keto's fault. The program had very clear instructions on how to onboard and offboard and make sure that you're not eating too little. And I was like, I don't need any of those. Like, I don't need to follow the instructions. I know how much to eat. And they specifically said, don't get too low on calories. And I was like, I don't need to listen to that. I can make it work. Like, I can suffer. I can get down to the smallest amount I could possibly eat to see the results that I wanted to see. And that's why I was wrecked on the inside. On the inside, once again, I was panicked. It was this frantic, like, you need to eat. It's never enough. It's that thought. I was angry. Scratch that. I was hangry. I was hungry all the time. Angry all the time. Getting down to the very end of the program, I was only eating 1,300 calories a day. And I'm 5'10". And that's not enough food. It's just not. I need more food than that. And I was always hungry. I was irritable. Like, I wasn't nice to be around. Maybe I looked good, but I wasn't a nice person because I was just always hungry. I was just like, this is just so annoying that I have to feel like this in order to look like this. And I remember one time in particular, this was during July that I was doing this program, and my birthday is July 13th, and it was 2 weeks before it ended. Yay! July 13th? Look at that! I love it! Yes, for your birthday twin. And so my mom, and this was 2 weeks before Deeper State Keto was ended, my mom bought me like this little tin of like gourmet popcorn, with the drizzle on it and stuff like that. And instead of just being like, oh, thanks, Mom, can't really have that right now, that's not part of my goals, or taking it and giving it to someone, I proceeded to yell at her so loud. I was like, why would you do this to me? Why would you give this to me when you know I can't have it? You're so cruel. I called her cruel for giving me a little tin of popcorn, right? Because I was so angry. I was in such a bad mood all the time. I was also physically weak. We talked about, Coach Brunson talked about, Fred talked about, we all talked about, it's nice to weigh one thing on the scale, but if you can't do the things you want to do, there's no point, right? There's no benefit. And so, yeah, I had muscle definition there, but the muscles were small, and I lost a lot of weight. But what weight was I really losing? Yeah, I lost some fat, but I lost a lot of my physical strength, and I could tell carrying groceries. I could tell walking upstairs. I could tell, if you follow me on my YouTube channel, you know that my grandmother is really big into yard sales. Really big into yard sales. And she would buy things. She not only host her own yard sales, she would go to other yard sales to buy things. And so we were her muscle, me and my sister. She was like, hey, I just bought this couch at a yard sale. I need you to come get it for me, right? And I noticed I can't lift anything. Like, I can't do the things that I used to be able to do. And so was weighing that much on the scale really worth it?